hexadecimal to octal, ठीक है वो सब. Okay, what we'll do is we'll have one doubt session. Take your time. Maybe towards the end of this week or beginning of next week. Uh, या तो Saturday or Monday. Yes.
Sir,
Uh-huh.
sir, nested for pattern, sir.
Okay, what we'll do is 2 or 3 classes we'll keep for the doubt clearing. Okay. Maybe on Saturday and Monday. ठीक है.
Sir, is
So
your voice echoing?
my voice किसी का mic on है उससे echo हो रहा है. Okay. So 2 or 3 classes this end of the week and the beginning of the next week we'll keep. उसमें जो तुम लोग doubt अपना all of you note it down and we'll try to resolve it then. ठीक है? So I'm giving you 4-5 days. Figure out your doubts. Okay. ठीक है. इल्हम जो पार्ट में तुम्हें डाउट है ना दैट इज नॉट वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पर हाँ उसको हम लोग देखेंगे. ठीक है. बट बिकॉज वी आर गोइंग टू बी गुड प्रोग्रामर्स वी नीड टू have clarity in all the topics, be it small or significant one. Okay, so not only these two, others also may figure out their doubts. So we'll start doubt sessions by Saturday, Friday or Saturday. Okay. Okay. Now where I was. अरे वो सब won't matter आदित्य. That's presentation में you prepare anywhere. Okay. गौरव को कोई बता दो कि class has started. If he is not here. Okay, so we'll start with one topic, very interesting, a very important one, and it will remove a lot of load from your head. अंकित वो सब पे आते हैं थोड़ी देर बाद, पहले पढ़ लेते हैं. ठीक है. That is known as.
So what will it remove from my head?
अरे लोड, वर्कलोड, वो मतलब टाइपिंग लोड एंड प्रोग्रामिंग का लेंथ विल डिक्रीज सिग्निफिकेंटली.
Okay.
Okay. So functions. To start with, I have already discussed functions are of two types. What are those two types?
Built-in functions and user functions.
User defined functions. Okay. इसी में within built-in you saw functions of थोड़ा maths type का देखा था. Then you saw string types. दो methods भी हो सकता है. When I am taking functions, I am also including methods here. ठीक है. Then you have lists. Okay. Tuples, dictionaries. Etc. Here, create your own customized functions. इलम मैंने बताया था ना कि they are not same. Okay. जिसमें one distinguishing feature I had given you is generally methods start with dot. लेकिन अगर import लिखा हुआ है तो even that dot one is a function. Okay. तो generally methods के पहले dot आता है. But if you are also using import statement and then you are using a function, ठीक है, with that imported name, then that also is a function, not a method. Else everything with dot is a function. I had also explained briefly functions, methods are the functions defined under classes. ठीक है, वो नहीं जानना है अभी. But just because you have asked, I have repeated once again. अभी के लिए बस ये जान लो, they are similar but distinguishing feature is dot. जिनके पहले डॉट आता है and they are not used after any imported name, then all those such things are methods. Customized functions. Okay, right. So पहली बात की okay ठीक है, we can create our own customized functions, but why? Okay, why functions?
To decrease the complexity of the program.
देखते हैं, हाँ, something like that. Why do we need functions? Okay, let's say somebody asks you to solve this problem. For example, अच्छा कोई we will analyze two questions. Question one, write a program to print the factorial of a number. Okay. And second program somebody gives you, which is also related to this, but it is somewhat different. For example, 1 by 1 factorial plus 2 by 2 factorial plus 3 by 3 factorial plus 4 factorial till n by n factorial. ठीक है, तो पहला वाला क्वेश्चन कितने लाइन में बन जाएगा? इन फ्यू लाइंस. ठीक है, यू विल एक्सेप्ट अ नंबर. ठीक है, यू विल एक्सेप्ट वन नंबर एंड n is equals to something, f is equals to 1 for I in a range product of all the numbers from 1 to n, 1 comma n plus 1, and then f is equals to f multiplied by I, and the final value of f outside loop is your answer. ठीक है, कुछ इस तरह का होगा, right? But what about this? उसमें कितना टाइम लगेगा?
10 times.
10 n times. 10 नहीं n होगा, क्योंकि you don't know what is
N.
n times. But don't you think ये मतलब कितना बड़ा लिखते जाएंगे? पहली बार what you will do in a variable, let's say इसको बनाने भी जाते हो ऐसे करके, what you will do? पहले तो you will ask n is equals to some value. ठीक है, पहले तुम 1 का फैक्टोरियल फाइंड करोगे, देन 2 का फैक्टोरियल फाइंड करोगे, देन 3 का फैक्टोरियल, देन 4 का फैक्टोरियल, देन 5 का फैक्टोरियल. इस तरह करते हुए द सेम टास्क, मतलब फैक्टोरियल ही निकालना है बट अलग अलग नंबर के लिए. यू हैव टू फाइंड अ फैक्टोरियल बट फॉर डिफरेंट नंबर्स. तो मान लो कि somebody tells you कि let's say I make it 5 by 5 factorial. What you can do is, in this sort of scenario, you can मान लो कि तुम्हारे पास अब नंबर इज 5. सो व्हाट यू कैन डू इज, यू कैन फाइंड ए में फाइंड कर लो 1 फैक्टोरियल का रिजल्ट, बी में फाइंड कर लो. ऑफ कोर्स यू विल रन दिस लूप 1 to वहां पे 1 होगा, फिर बी में 2 होगा, सी में 3 होगा, ए में 1 फैक्टोरियल फाइंड कर लो, बी में 2, सी में 3. बट फॉर ईच ऑफ दिस यू विल हैव टू रन दिस प्रोसेस. ठीक है
Sir,
So
in this program, can't we write like we can write two nested loop, and then we can increase the counter by 1, and we can directly find till 5 factorial in a
देखो,
nested.
there are ways. Of course, what you are suggesting is somewhat correct. उसमें कर सकते हो, but I am going by the general approach. हो क्या रहा है? Program is becoming large, right? क्योंकि तुम्हें फैक्टोरियल ही फाइंड करना है सेम थिंग का. ठीक है, या नहीं तो अब ये कर रहा है, तो you will see that कि for each of the numbers you have to run this program, okay, and then store the result in some variable. यहाँ f में की हो तो let's say a में कर लोगे, इसके लिए b में कर लोगे, इसके लिए 3 के लिए c में, 4 के लिए you will do it in a variable d. तो like that जितने numbers होंगे उतने number of factors तुम्हें store कर, factorials you will have to store, and then you will have to run a loop from 1 to n and 1 by a 1 by b ऐसे करके करना पड़ेगा. Somewhat it will be very complex, right? एक और छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल देते हैं. वन मोर एग्जाम्पल यू सी. लेट्स से आई टेल यू write a program to print the table of 10. ठीक है, क्वाइट इजी, ऐसे कर लोगे. For I in range print applied by 10. You will get the result. अब मैं तुम्हें बोलूं write a program to print the table of 10, 15, 20 and 30, one after another. अब ये क्या करोगे? How will you solve this?
We write the same things 4 times.
4 times. First you will run this loop for table of 10. ठीक है, the same thing. ठीक है, loop. Then you will run a loop for table of 15. Okay. Then you run a loop for table of 20 and finally for table of 30. Okay. Now इस तरह की सिचुएशन में I'll give you another example. Okay. ये
Sir?
मान हाँ.
So in this program, can't we write like in the first program, can't we like modify it like 10 plus j, where j starts from 0?
देखो, what my aim is कि fine, you can do some way or the other. हर प्रोग्राम में you will find some approach or the other to solve it. ठीक है, rather relatively easier than this approach. But I am trying to figure out a general approach which will apply to all the examples that I have given, and still it will make it or simplify the approach. ठीक है, I am not saying कि it cannot be done. It can be done. और इसी में कुछ करके कर भी सकते हो. But for देखो इस केस में for this case you suggested something else. In this case you are suggesting something else. ठीक है, तो rather let's find a simpler approach and a general approach which can be applied to all scenarios. है कि ठीक है, you can think of it, तो it struck you, but what about others जिनको struck नहीं किया, ये strike नहीं किया, so they will be in a problem, है ना. इसीलिए मैं एक general approach figure out करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. Of course that can be done. Okay. चलो यही दो प्रॉब्लम पे देखते हैं. तो ये प्रॉब्लम समझ में आ रहा है क्या हो रहा है कि unnecessarily you are repeating, duplication of code हो रहा है, but only with different number. यहाँ पे ये 10 है, अगले बार में ये 15 बन जाएगा in this loop. In this loop it will become 20, in this loop it will become 30, and same loop you will have to write again and again, and then your program will give you the desired output, right? So what function does is, function helps you label a piece of code itself. ठीक है, और उसके बाद प्रोग्राम में what you can do is, हाँ, नहीं, Ilam, that's not exactly correct. I'll come to that. So functions help you label a piece of code. or give a name to the piece of code or give an identifier to the piece of code. Remember we had learned कि names of functions are also identifiers. So अभी ये बताऊंगा कि उसका purpose क्या है. अब यहाँ पे मान लो wouldn't it be wonderful if we could name this piece of code and then instead of running this again I could have simply said कि in the same piece of code run this with 15, in the same piece of code run this with 20. ठीक है, मैं कोड नहीं लिखूंगा बट मैं ये केवल बोल दूंगा कि इस पीस ऑफ कोड पे रन द सेम पीस ऑफ कोड विथ 20, रन द सेम पीस ऑफ कोड विथ वैल्यू हियर एज 30. ठीक है, तो फंक्शंस उसमें हेल्प करता है. या
So we are replacing only the number.
Yeah, what we will do is, देखो अभी you will understand. What we will do is we will give a name to this itself. We will name a piece of code and run it wherever required with different set of values. Values which are known as parameters of the functions. ठीक है? Instead of writing the whole code again. Code again. ठीक है, अब देखो ये क्या होगा. Let's say you have to give a name to this piece of code. What I will do is I will make it n for a general number. ठीक है, I'll make it यहां पे इसको n कर देंगे. Let's say अगर ये क्वेश्चन होता write a program to print the table of n, तो क्या लिखते? What would you have written if, let's say, if it would have been table of n? देखो ये हाँ I into n हो जाता है. देखो this function is a very important concept. ये एक बार समझ लोगे ना, if you learn this, this is sort of nuclear weapon of this programming concept. ठीक है, everything you will unfold in front of you like what you say is anything. मतलब it will give you immense power. तो इसलिए इसको ठीक से समझो. So let's say you have to, and then in the top you will ask for a number n is equals to something. Okay, this is a program for table of n. Now let's say if you have to give a name to this piece of code, what you will do is you will write this piece of code as it is. Okay. For I in range. Okay. What is the meaning of that blue line? This one, name a piece of code. वही मैं explain कर रहा हूँ कि what I have written here, I am explaining here with example. Okay, this is the explanation. Okay. Now, how do you name a function? Name a piece of code? Or once you give a name to that piece of code, that will become a function. Let us see how. For that, we will use a keyword. Keyword हमने पढ़ा था. What is keyword? Just like for, just like int, they have certain defined meaning inside it. उसका meaning previously defined है. Okay, and it will do some work function as per the meaning already defined. It will do some activity or it will show some behavior as per the meaning defined. So in order to name a piece of code, the keyword that you will use will be def, D-E-F, short form of define. You will write def. Let's say I want to give this piece of code print I This piece of code which is used for finding the table or printing the table, I'll define it and give it a name as let's say table itself or table, tab. Okay. Okay. And this function will always ask for one value from the outside. Whenever you call this function or whenever you take the name of this function, you will always send a value n to it. n नहीं, मान लो कुछ और रख लेते हैं x, and इसके body में this piece of code will come. So what do we mean by this? You have given a name to this piece of code, and that piece of code is named as tab. So whenever you need to run this piece of code, you simply name this, write this name tab, and this piece of code will be automatically run in the background. Okay. Now,
Sir.
let's say if you have to print the table of 10, what you will do is, or I will make it not.
Sir,
Just a minute.
Sir, how do we know where the function is ending here?
Whatever is the last line of the body of the function. ठीक है? Now, let's say इस प्रोग्राम को अब कैसे बनाएंगे? I am solving this program. Def is referring to define or give a name to this piece of code as tab, which will always ask for this value when you will take the name. देखो अभी, Kevin, let us see. Let's say now you are running this program. Okay, so how will you run? पहले table of 10 print करना है. So you will simply write, once you have written this piece of code on the top of the program, in the beginning of the Python script, you will simply write print name. You will simply call this name. Name को call कैसे करेंगे? You will simply write tab, and you want x जो कि जाके which goes here and becomes n. Okay, so you will call it with tab 10, then tab 15, tab 20, and tab 30. देख रहे हो कितना सिंप्लीफाई कर दिया? What it will happen is, whenever you take the name of the function after defining the function, what it will do is it will go to that name, okay, and it will start executing that block, and it will also pass, when we are calling, whatever you have written in the bracket along with the name of the table, name of the function, that value will be passed to this variable. एक variable बन जाता है, ठीक है? उसमें that in x will acquire variable labeled as x will acquire the value 10, which you have passed to it while calling it. When you write the name of the function, that is referred to as calling the function or invoking the function. You have woken up this function. Okay, I want this piece, I want the piece of code associated in your body or which you have put in your body, okay, to be executed with this value 10. Okay, so this value will be acquired or caught in this value. Whenever you call it, this will be called. X will acquire the value of 10. It will get inside the body. N will become x. That means n has become 10 because x was passed as 10. Then this code will run for n, which is x, that is 10. Okay. Ankit,
No.
it's just a minute. I'm clearing the Ankit's doubt, then I'll come to you. Ankit, if you don't feel like giving tab, you can give any name. It's just like the variable. This is also an identifier. You can give any name. ABC दे देता हूँ मैं. that has got no significance, that is just for the sake of simplicity. अब यहाँ पे सारा जगह ABC 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 बदल दोगे, ठीक है? Just to give a relevant name to this block of code whenever matching with the behavior, that's why I have given it, ठीक है? Right. ये समझ में आया?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
अच्छा, Ankit, Ilam is asking one thing. मैं उसका जवाब दे देता हूँ. If Ilam doesn't feel like that, कि यहाँ पे x क्यों n क्यों नहीं, that is very good. मैं और सिंप्लीफाई कर देता हूँ प्रोग्राम को. You can write def tab n, ठीक है? अब क्या होगा? वो x वाला हटा ही दिया. यहाँ पे tab will be called, this 10 will be passed to n will become 10, it will run with the value of n. That's all right. ठीक है, Ankit, that is more simple. What will happen when you write this? This is known as calling the function or invoking the function. ठीक है? Activating the function, कुछ भी बोल सकते हो. Let's see one example. इसको रन करके दिखाता हूँ. Are you getting the gist? Don't worry, I am just laying out the bricks only. पर इसका purpose समझ में आया कि how significantly it has reduced the number of lines of code. You simply give a name, associate a piece of code with the name, and then whenever you are
Sir, the tab one is written outside the loop, right?
हाँ
Tab is written outside the for loop.
हाँ मैं दिखाता हूँ. Not for loop, that function body.
Sir, why do we not use a colon over here
We have used colon.
in the tab part?
1 minute. नहीं, we don't use it when calling it. अरे, is it going to have any body? Block होगा तब ना, block के लिए कोड लिखते ना. There is not going to be any block. Okay.
While defining it, we should put colon,
while
right?
defining you will write, while invoking or while calling it you won't write. Okay. Function for table. Let us see. I'll write the piece of code here. First, I will name a piece of code. Okay, def. Let's say table नहीं डालेंगे, ABC डाल देते हैं, so that you don't develop a notion key that has got any relevance. And it will catch a variable value in a variable which I will put in the brackets or parenthesis. ठीक है? So now what you will do is you will table के लिए for I in range 1 to 11. Okay, and then you will print I multiplied by n. Okay, once you are done, your now function is ready. See, merely by defining the function do not get called itself automatically. Function खुद से call नहीं होता है. It will be dead piece of code. If you execute this code, it won't do anything. Why? Because you have merely defined it. It won't become active till the time you call it by taking its name. ठीक है? जब तक इसका नाम लेके इसे नहीं बुलाओगे, till the time you take the name of this function, Okay, till that time the piece of code put inside the body, its body won't be executed. ठीक है, अभी इसको रन कर दोगे ना, कुछ नहीं होगा, nothing. Why? You defined a function, that's all right, it's a dead piece of code. So function becomes active when you call it. जब उसको invoke करते हैं, with the moment you invoke it, then only the piece of code associated with it will get activated, and again then it will come back. देखो, अब यहाँ पे लिखते हैं हम लोग table of 10. क्या करोगे? You will write A B C bracket में 10. What will happen? The moment you call it A B C 10, ये क्या होगा? यहाँ पे जा इसको activate करेगा. The moment it gets activated, n will acquire the value 10. It has been passed on here. ठीक है? In the parenthesis of ABC, and then it will start executing. ठीक है? ये यहाँ पे execute करना शुरू हो जाएगा. The moment last line of the block of the code is executed, it again comes back to the place where it was called. कहाँ पे आ जाएगा? यहाँ पे ABC, यहाँ 6th line के बाद वो 7th line के beginning में it will automatically go. So remember, इसको मैं लिख देता हूँ. Note. The moment function or the piece of code associated with the function code associated with the function ठीक है, the moment piece of code associated with the function that is in the body of the function is done executing, how do you know it is done executing? The moment the last line of the body is executed, the program control returns to the place of invocation. To the place of invocation. It has become too small, but समझ जाओ इसका meaning. What is the meaning? The moment ये इसको call किया, so what it will do is it will start executing the code associated with this block, the name of the function, उसके block के अंदर whatever is the code written with the value of n wherever it is appearing in the body n with this value, okay, that has been passed in n from outside. ठीक है, उस value के साथ it will start executing, and the moment last line of the block is executed, it will again return back to the place from where it was called. मतलब कहाँ? इसके बाद, just after ABC. इसका एग्जाम्पल देने के लिए मैं लिख दूं अगर यहाँ print hi and then ABC. Let's say I find table of 19. क्या करना होगा? ABC 19. ठीक है, देखो फिर मान लो you have to print the table of 123. So what you will do, जब भी आप प्रोग्राम में once you have defined it, wherever you have to do this piece of work, just call this name with the value, it will give you the answer. देखो, देख रहे हो, first is started here, 100 तक प्रिंट किया. द मोमेंट देखो 100 तक क्यों प्रिंट किया? फर्स्ट एबीसी व्हेन यू कॉल्ड फंक्शन इन्वोक्ड. और फंक्शन कॉल्ड. यहां से द मोमेंट यू इन्वोक द फंक्शन, it executed the piece of code associated with the given name with the value of n as 10 wherever it appears in the body. उसके बाद the moment this piece of code is done executing, the program control again returns back to the place where it was, from where it was called, means at the end of that line, and then next line will start executing. That is why you will see that after 100, that means once the body was executed for the function, after 100 you will see immediately high being printed. ठीक है, क्योंकि उसके बाद तुमने 7th लाइन में high print किया है. Then this comment line will be ignored. Then line number 19 with the same piece of code you are invoking with the value of n as 19. उसके बाद देखोगे वो 19 का टेबल प्रिंट किया है. Okay, till 190. Done. उसके बाद फिर once it has executed, it will again return back to line number 9 and will go to the end of the line number 9 and will go to the line number 10, but it is a comment, it will be ignored, will come to line number 11, where again that piece of code will be invoked or will be activated with the value of n which is passed to it while calling n as 123, and wherever in the body 123 appears, it will execute, replace that with 123. ये बताओ फंक्शन का कंसेप्ट समझ में आया कि हाउ this thing repetition of code or duplication of code was avoided by naming the function and invoking and activating it whenever required. बताओ, let me know. Did you get the gist of it? So
Yes.
that you don't have to need to write the piece of code for that activity again and again. Simply give a name, pass the relevant values to it, and obtain the sum, obtain the result. Okay. Now,
Sir,
huh,
after the last slide, if we type print n, it'll print 1, 2, 3.
if you want to print here, print
N.
n.
Yes, sir.
हाँ, n बताओ क्या होगा?
1, 2,
वो
3.
मैं आने वाला था. अभी you won't be able to discuss answer this question, but the here what if you write n, it will give you n name does not exist, name not defined. I'll tell you the reason, just give me a minute, थोड़ी देर में देखते हैं. ठीक है, इसका रीजन है वो सुने होगा ना, देयर इज वन डायलॉग, व्हाट एवर हैपेंस इन वेगास स्टेज इन वेगास. तो कुछ उसी तरह का कंसेप्ट है यहाँ पे. दैट मीन्स, चलो बता ही देता हूँ ब्रीफली. Another important thing to remember about functions is
So then what will be the answer for that question that you have given? Why do we need functions?
अभी क्या समझो, what advantage do you think the function gave you? वो प्रोग्राम टेबल ऑफ 10 वाला 20, 30 उससे how it made your job convenient?
We not want to write the same piece of code again and again.
Merely by just giving the name, you achieved that thing. So did it not reduce the complexity of the program? Did it not reduce the number of lines of codes of the program? Did it not reduce the chances of human error in the program? ठीक है, did it not make a piece of code reusable? यही सारा तो उसका रिक्वायरमेंट है. And that is the strength of functions, is that whatever variable is defined in the block body or header of the function is not accessible outside the function. मतलब क्या? Any variable you define in the body of the function or in the header of the function as parameters, ठीक है, they will not exist outside the function. ठीक है, उस पे भी हम लोग आएंगे. उसके पहले एक छोटा सा और प्रोग्राम कर लेते हैं. Can you try on your own?
Sir, outside the function means what?
I'll outside the block of the function. That means outside the function.
Yes, sir.
Function means outside block of the function. इसीलिए n was not coming. It was not you were not able to access n in the example that we discussed just now. Don't worry, this is the very first class. We will have many classes on this. Okay. Straight around 10 marks question will be there from the function. 70 में से अकेले. देखो. अच्छा चलो इसको हम लोग before we discuss this elaborately, can you write a program or define a function which when called prints the sum of two numbers passed to it as parameters while calling or invoking. Parameters क्या है? This ये जो पास करते हैं ना value along with the name in the header. अच्छा यहाँ पे add forgot it in the header. ठीक है, that is parameters. So you can have more than one parameters. Let's say n और m दो करना है तो n comma m लिखोगे तुम. And then when you are calling, you should pass two values to it. Okay.
Sir,
Ah.
so the variable inside the function,
Hmm.
in this case n, it has no significance, right?
It has significance only when the function is executing.
Okay.
ठीक है?
So,
N can be
before-
used from inside the body of the function, but once all the lines of the function have been executed and program control comes out of the body, ठीक है? You won't be able to use this value or refer to this value. ठीक है? We'll discuss about it, but पहले ये program देख लेते हैं. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Ella has done. चलो मैं भी साथ साथ करता हूँ. Program 40 function sum. So what we will do? Generally, sum of two numbers कैसे find करते हैं? How do you find the sum of two numbers?
We add
You will ask for
a plus b.
हाँ, मान लेते हैं I'm taking hard-coded values. B is equals to 20, and then C is equals to A plus B, and then you print C. ठीक है? Now what you need to do is कि अब इसको function में बनाना है, तो the same piece of code has to be put in the or has to be given a name. So I'll put it in the block of I'll put it in the of a name def, से इसका नाम मैं total दे देता हूँ, and then I won't need these two values because these two values will be provided from outside, और मैं यहाँ पे a, b दो वैल्यू ले लेता हूँ जो यूजर विल पास ऑन इन द फंक्शन हेडर एज पैरामीटर्स, ठीक है, इन द पैरामीटर्स ऑफ द फंक्शन दैट इज a and b जो पैरेंथेसिस के अंदर है, ठीक है, एंड देन that will be used. Now from outside, how will you use the function?
Total 10, 20.
Find the sum of 2 and कैसे करोगे? You will simply call that piece of
total
code with two values. तो इसमें क्या होगा? 2 will be passed to a and 3 will be passed to a variable which is created by the function header, ठीक है, and then it will get inside the body. A new variable c will be created which will contain the sum of a and b which were passed to it, or the function parameters, and then it will print c, and then it will come out of the body, and the program execution will come out at the end of the line 6. Then it will go to line 7. No further lines, program will terminate. Yes, you can also take input inside the body of the function, though that is not recommended. मैं उस पे आऊंगा अंकित, don't worry about it. पहले अभी ये समझो जो मैं walk along with me. I'll come to that part as well. ठीक है, ये clear हो गया कि now let us see if you run it. Are you getting 5 here? Right. But now answer this question. What will be the value of what will be the value of C if you print below? That means if I write here print C, क्या आएगा?
Not defined. Not defined.
Not defined. Why? Because C is only existing in the block of the function. So when it was executing, तो जब तुमने कॉल किया था, when it was executing, it was existing. But the moment your function did its job, the last line was executed and it came out here in line number 7. This whatever was inside it was lost and destroyed. Next time if you call it again, this same thing will be run with the new set of values. So even the another round of the function, maybe you will not be able to use the previous round का value. ठीक है, so every time you call this function piece of code, ठीक है, it will be executed with a new set of values, and moment it comes out, it forgets everything and everything is destroyed, whatever was there inside it. Okay.
Sir, like after I come out of the function, I run and I write C is equal to 10. Then I print C, then it will give 10.
Wait. हाँ, C is 10. लिख दिया मैंने. Now, see, that is what I am saying. When you came out here, was C existing before this?
No.
The answer is no. When you
No,
came
sir.
here, C was not existing. ठीक है? But now when you अब यहाँ पे तुमने C define कर दिया है. So therefore, now you will print the value will be 10 here. ठीक है? उस पे हम लोग आते हैं. उसका क्या मतलब है? ठीक है? So for that I will explain you, and maybe we'll continue tomorrow as well. There is ये भी question definitely आएगा बोर्ड में. Local scope and global scope of a function. Local scope and global scope. Local scope means which is only which function has control over. That is, which function is possessing in its own right. ठीक है? So whatever is the block, मतलब header of the function plus block of function that is local to the function. Function has full right over it. What is global scope? Outside function. Now, similar to this, there is a concept local variable and global variable. What is local variable?
Variables present inside the function, sir.
Correct. And global variable?
Outside.
Global variable is variables present outside the function. Defined inside function and defined outside function. ठीक है?
So it's not necessary to remember the local variables, right?
No, local variable are just mechanisms to help you do that piece of activity. Which
So it's
function
fine to
refers to?
forget it after we define the function.
Of course, you don't need to. ठीक है? इसीलिए यहाँ पे when if you print it, it will say I don't know because this was existing in the local. C is existing in the local scope of the function, which is not accessible from the global scope. यहाँ पे ये भी लिख देता हूँ. Local variables are not accessible from the global scope. ठीक है? अच्छा, एक और प्रोग्राम हमने देखा था. What was that program? जो एग्जाम्पल में that we will solve. यहाँ पे ये वाला क्वेश्चन. अच्छा, उससे पहले one final thing. Now, in this, where did it go? Yeah. इसमें क्या था? You did यहाँ पे something like def total and from outside you will call total. ठीक है? 2,3. Now, tell me one thing. If I do that same piece of function, यहाँ पे मैं लिख देता हूँ code for some of function I'll take 5 more minutes. Function for sum of two numbers. तो उसमें क्या लिखा था हमने? We wrote this a comma b you can write as x comma y also, no problem. This total can also be as per your name. This is also this also follows the rules of identifiers because it is identifying the function or the piece of code which has to be executed when this is called. Okay, so these all things are identifiers. Okay, so you will write c is equals to a plus b and print c. Now tell me, if you write total 2,3, it will print 5. But from here, if I want to use this sum in some different way, will this be, execute this line? देखो.
Not defined, sir.
हाँ, not defined. Let's say ऐसा situation आता है, you come across a situation where one of the particular result of the function is to be used later down in the program in the global scope, ठीक है, जो भी चीज यहाँ फाइंड किया है तुमने, let's say sum of two numbers, it has to be used later down in the program, then it won't be possible because you have used found the sum, consumed the sum, that is displayed the sum, and you have left. How do we use one of the particular values which was computed in the function outside later in the program? अगर that value is some very important value, उसके mechanism में क्या है?
Store it in the variable. Store it in the variable. A is equal to total to 3.
A is equals to?
Total to 3. The fourth line, sir, before total, A is equal to.
Yeah,
and then print A.
Here you want to write A equals to.
In the fourth line.
Like we are storing like that total in some
total.
variable.
2, 3.
A is equals to total.
Yes, and then print A.
No, it won't. It won't show. देख लो. It will give you none. चलो यहीं पे कर देता हूँ print x. It will give you none. देख रहे हो? मैं आऊंगा. I'll tell you why it will give you none. So what I'm saying is, if any result computed in the function, in the body of function, that is in the local scope of the function, has to be used outside the function Okay, are you able to listen to me?
Yes.
I'm sorry, power cut, so we'll stop here. चलो इसको कल से लेंगे. I'll take from this point tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.